Hey everyone, Greg here. As you may know by now, I'm the co-founder and CEO of TripShock, an online reseller for water sports and tours. For the past 12 years, we've had the pleasure of working with hundreds of operators across the country, and we're looking to grow our community. It's free to sign up, and you only pay when we bring you confirmed bookings. We'll help you reach new customers, fill empty seats, and grow your business like so many have done with us over the years. Head over to partners.tripshock.com to learn more about our program, read testimonials, or speak directly with our supply team. As always, thank you for listening and enjoy the show.
They come to relax, enjoy the beach, have fun, and spend money. And that's where we come in. This is the Awkward Watersport Guys podcast. Find out tips on the best ways to market and operate a water sports business. If you're a water sports operator, you need to grow your brand, operate more safely, upgrade your operations, and of course, increase bookings. We're industry veterans, broadcasting from Destin, Florida. This is the Awkward Watersport Guys podcast. And this is Kevin O'Neill and Greg Fisher.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 51 of the Awkward Watersports Guy podcast. I'm here with my good buddy Kevin O'Neill, and today we're going to be talking about networking.
Yeah, and I swear we didn't drum up the whole networking idea just because that we finally got up to enough people for the event.
For the event, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to just break that like that, you know what I mean? Like dun da da da, but I don't want to go into a long-winded explanation because it is a weird time for us to talk about this. And I mean, literally, it was my idea. Yesterday, I was like, hey, let's talk about networking because we talked a little bit with Kai about it on the last episode, but it did seem, and obviously super perfect timing being that you found out an hour ago we hit the number to make the event happen, which was 50. So without getting too deep into it, again, I'm going to reiterate this because, in the early days of the show, we'd always reiterate, hey, this isn't a commercial for TripShock, nor is this a commercial for our event because, I mean, the reality of it is Greg's not getting rich on this event. I've got nothing into it at all other than trying to help promote it like 100 times. We don't do this for money. And the great byproduct for Greg and I of doing this is the network, which we have sort of created, but also gotten pulled into with the Arrival guys, with the different marketers, with all the people that have been in this show. It's now become like a de facto network for us. And so being that we are having an event coming up in Orlando in mid-October, I mean, I figured it'd be wow, what a perfect opportunity to talk about this and explain the importance of not just our event, but why networking is so important.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I said in the last episode of how the first 10 years of running TripShock, I've kind of failed at networking. Now, other than the relationships I made with our tour operators, I did not get myself out there enough. And I did not promote the brand in the industry. And I thought that my expertise was better suited behind the computer, working SEO and working with the team and growing the team. And I think that's really important. But at the same time, the connections you make, you can learn so much from them and they can learn a lot from you, and we can make this industry better together. I know that's cliche, but it's true. Every time we get a guest on the show, we learn something. We take something from them. Either a mistake they made that we learn from, or we learn about a way that they run their business that's unique, that can maybe save us some time. Kevin and I, we love this. I mean, it's our way of networking without actually being physical. But I don't know about you, but I'm tired of being behind a computer. Like Kevin, you said something funny on the Facebook group when someone said with the water sport event, well, how do we do a Zoom event? And Kevin says, I'd rather get COVID and die and Zoom event. It's funny. It's funny and not funny. I mean, because
it's totally funny. I listen. It's fucking funny, man. I think there's the other thing that I found with some of the different Facebook groups and stuff that I'm in, and it's not even just like the learning, but it's the connections that you make with the good business relationships, because you can go online and Google like accountant near me or counselor near me or, banker near me. But I mean, every good asset that I have found in my business has come from a recommendation from somebody in my network. The people that I've Googled blindly and just, or done due diligence with, it's been a tough road. It's not like you don't get the best people doing that. And so, I mean, like Greg put me in contact with his banker, and like they're going to do a ton of stuff and open up a ton of doors and a ton of finance opportunities for us that we didn't have at a big bank at Wells Fargo. I had no idea where to go to find a good local connection banker rather than make a ton of phone calls. I sat down with Greg's banker, Donald, and he had everything done for me. I wasn't sitting at home filling out a bunch of paperwork. Like it was just such a seamless thing that normally would like stress me out. But that's because Donald's a good banker, and that's because of my relationship with Greg. And Greg, obviously more than just my network, a great friend of mine. But I wouldn't have these, relationships and these connections, and I wouldn't be able to find quality people to help me through my business journey if it wasn't for I would be a broken record, but a strong network of good people that want to offer help and guidance.
And our network, our industry, water sports, boat tours, it's really fragmented. There's no conferences for us. I mean, a Revel conference is probably the closest thing you're going to get to having a conference for water sport or boat tours. I know there's a WSIA, but that parasailing symposium is really not. I mean, it's still a networking event. I mean, it's a great event to go to. I think you have to go to it if you're a parasailing company because your insurance requires it. But at the same time, there's just not a lot out there for like boat rental, boat tour, guys like that, because we're just a fragmented industry. Everyone thinks it's just black and white. But as we talk about on the show, there is so much more to just taking someone's money, putting gas in a boat, and then sending it out. There's strategy, there's tech, there's distribution, there's a lot of that stuff. And it's hard to learn by just going on and Googling it.
I think that's the difference though, Greg, is I think the difference and something that I've asked about before, like, what separates what's the difference between, owner operator and then a founder. And I'll go back to last week's show with Kai. Like Kai could have easily just been like an owner operator, small business guy, but he got into different vertices and got into manufacturing, got into distribution. Like he took vertical integration. Yeah. He applied that, and now it's like, is that guy an owner operator or is he a founder? No, he's a founder, because he took all of these different integrations and connections he was able to make with his business and create a larger brand. And I think that's the disconnect. When you have somebody that goes, man, $800, San Diego, Arrival, I don't get it. I don't like marketing. I find no value in this. But for people like Greg, and people like myself, I always put myself in that owner operator, but I'm working toward that title of founder. And I think that I get closer to that when I start thinking like a founder. Like when I think about somebody that has a big brand, a great company, you find opportunity and you find value in everything. For us, for this show, like I think Malcolm Gladwell, I think called them marketing mavens, and I can't remember. It's been a long time since I read that particular the tipping point, but he talks about how there's certain people that like to turn people on to new stuff or like to teach, like, oh, there's this great new product out here. I'm doing this thing that's really like, I'm trying this particular workout routine or this supplement or this marketing strategy or whatever it may be. Like I get really stoked on talking to people about that stuff and introducing people to that stuff and learning about that stuff. It's always been a dream of mine to get on stage and speak at an event. Now, our water sport aside, I have an opportunity to speak at Arrival in San Diego in February. And so none of this happens if I don't show up at Arrival. If you don't say, hey, Kevin, come to Arrival, come to this networking event. It's not even that really networking event. I mean, that's part of it. But if you don't come to the event, check it out. Awesome. Yeah, man, I want to check it out. I came there by myself, didn't know anybody but you. And went around, met some people, shook some hands, went and sat at some round tables, gained a bit of knowledge. But ultimately, like, we sort of inspired this to do the podcast, and now here we are 1 year later, and this one ticket to this one event has now kind of got the cartwheel going for something I've always wanted to do, which is be on stage and speak. And I mean, fucking, how cool is that? How many opportunities has that been able to bring you, to bring myself? Seemingly from one aspect of one event, going to net just from networking. I wouldn't be here, or we wouldn't probably be doing this and doing the whole thing if it wasn't for Arrival. So I think there's a lot of opportunities that can be missed if you don't see the intangible or the ancillary benefits to creating relationships.
One thing with networking, if you think that you can be part of something very part-time, like our Facebook group, for example, if you're posting once every 6 months and you're not active, then you're not going to get invites to be our roundtable host. Like, if we see you interacting all the time, like we personally reached out for our roundtable host, the people that are very active, that are very intelligent, that have good input on things. Those are the people that we need as like the voice leaders of our industry. And so be active, and don't be like a part-time supporter or something. If you're really passionate about your business or passionate about the industry, be very vocal and be supportive. Like, there's been so much good information shared in that group. That group is like a chamber of commerce. I
was just going to head there. Chamber of Commerce. You can. There's like basically the foundation for networking in your area. You should be a part of your chamber of commerce. You should be actively involved. I mean, do you have to go to the First Friday Coffee or whatever the fucking bullshit events they have sometimes? Sometimes those Chamber of Commerce events are pretty bad, But yeah. I mean, do you have to go to every single one? No, but you can go down there and show your face and talk to people. I mean, our chamber president was able to, help us put together a bunch of people that helped us ultimately influence the ordinances that were going into our city. It helped us form our coalition. It put us in contact with the FWC and the Coast Guard and all the right people that we needed to have conversations with to shape and form ultimately what would be the regulating body of ordinances that controlled what we do, how many boats we could have, what we could do, and we had a huge say in that. We helped write it, like every industry should when it comes to this sort of thing. But if we weren't proactive in being a part of our local business and local politicians and into injecting ourselves into that network, they would have just put together whatever tomfoolery, nonsensical thing that had nothing to do with our industry if we weren't in there and talking to those people.
Let's just talk about networking. Like, it's for some people, it's hard because you go to these events, you don't know anybody. And I think you need to really first think, like, what do I want to achieve? Like, why I'm wasting 2 hours of my day to come, or not wasting, well, I'm spending 2 hours of my day to participate in this. What am I getting out of it? And that's what you got to think about. And be realistic with your expectations, because you are building relationships and you're going to walk in, and usually people are pretty open to share their business and learn more about yours, but have some objectives. Like, when I go to a chamber function, I say, okay, I'm going to meet 3 new people. I don't care who they are. I'm going to meet 3 new people. I'm going to tell them about my business, and I'm going to let them know my name. Maybe I'll add them on LinkedIn or whatever, but that's what I do. Like, I have an objective that I'm going to meet people. And I like to ask questions, make them feel, because people like to talk about their business. So I always ask them about their business. And I'm really, you just never know who that person knows. If that person can be a potential customer, that person can recommend you to somebody. So just have a great attitude and be open and have an objective to meet a minimum 3 or 5 people. So that way you leave and you feel like, well, that was worth it. Because I see so many people, they grab a beer and they sit on the sidelines and it's like, what are you doing here? Like, you just need to go home if you're not, you're not feeling it. So
there's also networks that you can buy into. I'm not going to endorse any of them. I've talked to a couple of network marketers. There's marketers that build up their businesses like whole. I know that, and it's like, I wouldn't say maybe necessarily like an old school.
Are you getting into Pampered Chef?
What? What's Pampered Chef?
It's a multi-level marketing.
Oh, really?
You're gonna say, yeah. You ever heard Pampered Chef?
No, I don't know. What does it do? What are they? Is it food or something? Or
No, cookware.
Oh no! Oh, MLM. No. This is.
Wait,
no,
are you going to host a party at your house?
Yes. Yeah.
Invite us all over and do a cooking show for us.
But no. It'll be sex toys. So like dildos, cock rings.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yes.
My mom.
You know that's a thing, right? Like chicks do that.
I know they do that. My mom, as a kid, she did the toys, like kids' toys.
What? When you said toys, I thought you were.
I know where your mind's going right now. But no, she did toys, and I remember just being a kid, and my mom has like all the mothers of the neighborhood, and she's pumping these like Fisher Price toys.
A fucking MLM pyramid network marketer.
Well, I'll tell you, in the '90s, I think every mom was a MLM.
Sure. What was it? What's the makeup or the Tupperware? Like, what is that? Remember they'd always have the parties or whatever. And what Avon? Remember Avon?
Avon, but there's a Tupperware one too.
Yeah, I can't remember the Tupperware, but I mean, one of my SEO guys. I mean, he's into
real quick. Remember? Have you watched Napoleon Dynamite?
Of course.
Remember when Uncle Rico was selling the bowls?
Yeah. He goes running over and it explodes.
No, and Chip, he ran it over trying to test them. Oh my God. Anyway.
And then my favorite part is then later he moves some Tupperware into like bustiers of bras or something like that. And he was talking to the high school girl in the back of the auditorium about fucking bras. Oh my God, man. It's so good. But there's actual just straight up networks you can buy into. You can go for 5, 10, 20. Not even selling shit, but there's a couple groups that I'm in, Facebook groups, where they sell these business network. And the kid called me and he pitched me, and first he was like sales. And I was like, no. I've always been interested in doing a sales program course or something like that. I'm sure it's a lot of stuff is whatever, but. And then the second thing he pitched me on was I can't remember what it was. It was $10,000 or something for the year. And it was we teach you how to run your business so your business doesn't run you, how to delegate. And I'm like, yeah, man, I kind of know that. I know all this stuff. And it was entrepreneur or something. And then because that was, he was trying to pitch me on. He was trying for the $10,000 one. I felt like he maybe was a little nervous about to pitch me the next level up, because the next level up was $40,000. And I was like, holy shit, man, what do I get for $40,000, and then you the content creator, course creator, whatever, and you fly out to Dallas and you do all this stuff and you meet with all these guys. And I can't poo-poo on it because I haven't done it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's I can't poo-poo on that. Just if my partners come to me and say hey, what are you doing on this fucking show all the time? Well, it's I can show you in hard numbers, man, physical numbers, what doing this show, what it is done for our company, the people that we've met, the things that we've instituted, the people that we brought into our network, all these different things have created actual profitable, measurable dollars into our bank account. So I can't poop on that, because there might be some, $40,000 or $100,000 idea that comes from somebody, maybe a tax idea or a marketing idea or manufacturing, buying shit. Who knows? Maybe somebody goes, hey man, I know a guy that can get you 10 boats for X. Boom, saves me $60,000, $100,000, and it pays for that $40,000. Again, it takes me back to the initial. I'm squeaking like a motherfucker, aren't I, in my chair? So it takes me back to the initial idea. I guess I just got to get a new chair, man. This thing's always it sounds like I'm farting.
I'm gonna buy you a new chair.
Okay, I appreciate it. See, my network paying off.
No, I'm going to buy you a new chair because of the time I'll save editing. We'll make up for it in 2 weeks. So,
but I'm pretty sure that most of the people coming to the event are coming because of the episode where you asked me if I was farting in the middle of it. I think we gained a bunch of new fans. Like, check out episode 43. Kevin farts all throughout the show. I have no idea where I was going with that. I completely lost my train of thought.
So what I got out of it is that you're saying that we should start an exclusive club where we charge $10,000 and you get all of the advice you can get about water sports.
I mean, you come over to my house, you have, and that's what, it's a lot of what these guys do. They dress up their consulting with like a bunch of other shit, nice dinners, like, oh yeah, man, I'll fly you on my private jet somewhere, something like that, so they do all this dressing around it. Again, I'm not saying that it's not worth it, because again, you could get put together with somebody that could potentially be your next business partner. Opportunities is what also, like,
I think a big thing we're missing with networking is when you network with people, you want to be a really good network, be humble and give away info, give away free info to people. That's very helpful. Help them, because if you're like, oh, I'll help you, but come over and buy something first, and try to do a pitch on them. Don't do that. If you want to be a good marketer or a good networker, help people unconditionally.
Provide value.
Help people unconditionally, and they will respect that. Kevin and I, we put so many hours into this podcast, so many hours. We give away all of our secrets. We do it unconditionally. We don't ask for anything in return. Well, we ask for you to follow the podcast and tell somebody.
Now we're asking you to come to an event and meet us live, just so we can get some drinks and have a party. But I want to get back. I want to finish my thought really quick before we got off the chair farts. And I think that kind of sums it up. Is that
chair farts?
What's chair farts? Chair farts sum up this entire show. It's business. It's fun. It's a little bit of both. The chair is business. The farting is fun. No, the idea is that when you think about your network, when you think about these intangible values, you're thinking like a founder, because I've read a lot of biographies about great entrepreneurs and business books and stuff like that. So I guess I had an inkling, but to actually be around, like, it's one thing to read about the fucking Beatles, but to be able to go and, let's say, like, mix it up with, I don't know, some whatever fucking not as famous as the Beatles, but pretty popular band there is. I have no metaphor. I didn't sleep last night. But for you to be able to go and jam with a guy like Jason Morehouse or Greg or Justin or any of these guys that are doing really cool things in business and making money, and you see that they see opportunity in everything. Like the old man in me wants to poo-poo on NFTs. Oh, NFTs, whatever. And don't get off on NFTs. I'm just using it as an example. But you're ahead of the curve on this thing, right? You're talking about it. You're making money from it. You're ahead of the curve on buying domain names. I'm sure when somebody, the first time you're like, yeah, I bought a domain name, and they're like, a what? A domain name. Like, I bought this beach.com. Like, what the fuck is that? I don't know, $100,000. I made 50,000 on it or whatever it was.
Did I tell you that when I bought those domains originally and I went to the bank to get the check, the bank manager had to come out and talk to me to make sure I wasn't getting scammed.
Right. Well, so again, it's being
actually, I appreciate that. The banker, I appreciate that. But he actually cared enough to.
Was it Donald?
No, Donald wasn't there at the time. It was a different guy. Yeah.
But again, it's seeing a bigger picture. It's thinking like a founder, it's thinking like a real entrepreneur. It's about seeing opportunities in everything. And when I'm not gonna say who, but somebody kind of poo-pooed our number on a little bit, like, oh, network, there's like 50, 100 guys, owner operators. The event was like, I mean, yes and no. I get it. It's not a rival. There's not 1,000 people there in a bunch of different industries that are connected. It's owner operators, but I know for a fact there's going to be a bunch of great guys, and there's going to be like
quality over quantity.
100%. Like a guy like Douglas Quimby is giving of his time, and he's going to come and speak at the event. Correct?
Yep.
Okay, so Douglas is going to be there.
Just to be there with Douglas and just pick his brain.
Absolutely.
That knowledge dump. I mean, there's 5 people I'm looking at on this list that I am excited to meet in person and just get a bunch of knowledge from.
And just get a little one-on-one FaceTime. And because a lot of guys like that, like Greg, I not for nothing, but I hold you up in that same kind of esteem, So I thought it was really cool that you want to do a show with me. I'm like, man, here's this guy that's like way further along with his company than I am. I'm just kind of a fucking a big dumb captain, what I mean? But now, like, I get to share in your network. I get to be a part of like your world, and I get to learn so much from not just you, but the people that are in your network. And that was just having some FaceTime, sitting down, grabbing some lunch, talking about marketing, being on the phone, like having these conversations, getting into these high level conversations about marketing. Like, you don't know where that drink at that bar, where that lunch, like where that stuff could possibly take your business or your career, your relationships, because you have a relationship with somebody that's really smart. And I have a decent handful of people just from over the last year of doing this show, of being in the group, of being a part of the Arrival Network, that I could just reach out and talk to and ask questions and have these one-on-one conversations where, again, somebody like that's going and doing like a consult for another business might charge like $5 or $10,000 for that same information, or possibly more, depending on what they're doing. So you might look at our little small event and say, oh, there's 50 to 100 people are coming. Like, what can I really do with that? And I mean, fuck, a lot. I mean,
we're actually going to cap it at 100 because I want it to be more intimate, so everyone has more one-on-one time with each other. If it's 500, 1,000 people, it does get a little overwhelming. You kind of have to have a game plan. So I'm really excited about the being a little bit smaller, because I can have more one-on-ones with everybody there. And I said, I'm looking at this list of people coming here, and these are like the smartest people I know in water sports that are coming. I mean, it is awesome.
And not for nothing, but I mean, you're going to come and you get to network with me and Greg. Now, I don't know that I can like 10x your business and your profits, but I can 10x your friendships. And that pays out in dividends. That's a lifetime. A friendship with me, I mean, I don't know if it equates in dollars.
It's also like entertainment being friends with you. So,
oh, yeah, it's like fucking having your own personal clown on demand.
I know.
Oh, look at it. Well, man, I think that like wraps it up. Well, you got to have some news, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna cap it off with, when you do it, if you go to the event, or you go to any event, I hope that you go to this one, and I hope you go to Arrival in San Diego. I'm really pumped to go to San Diego because I've never been there before, and I hear it's like a really awesome like water sport city. So even though it's February, it's gonna be cold, but I just excited to go there. But when you go to any of these events, the best advice is to have a game plan. Understand like what you're trying to get out of it, because I have left events upset with myself because I spent the whole hour there and I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't get any value. People go there to meet you. So have questions that you might want to ask. Get a hold of the attendee list if you can beforehand, and look through it and say, okay, I want to talk to this guy. I know him. He has a good business. I want to ask him a couple questions.
I got a recommendation. I want to sneak in here before you get there's a book. It's called 92 Steps. I think it's 92 Steps How to Speak to Anyone. My phone's dead, of course. Okay. But anyway, it's a great book that really delves into, if you have to show up to an event alone, if you don't know anybody, it can be really disarming. It can be very awkward. It's like you went there and you stand there and you didn't talk to anybody. It can be difficult. So I say, like, go take that book and read it, because you might be able to apply some of these things. Like, it's really weird. Like, what are you going to do? You're just going to like walk up to like a group of guys all standing around that start to know each other, holding drinks, and you're walking like, ha, 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 ha. Good one. Hi, my name's Kevin O'Neill. Nice to meet you. Destiny Water.
If you do come to either the events, Arrival or the forum, and you need introductions to people, just give us a shout.
Go.
Yeah,
come see me. I'll be friends with anybody, man. Next thing you know, it'll be 3:00 in the morning. We'll be fucking out there like starting fights in the street, man. I'll fucking I'll do like a whole like Van Wilder thing. Like, you won't be able to get me away. I don't care. Like, I'm in it for friendships and small plate dinners. That's what I'm coming for.
Oh yeah, those small plate dinners are something else.
Small plates and friendship.
All right. So event details. October 17th is the check-in. October 18th is the event. We're going to have a pre-party that night, that Sunday night. The conference is on the Monday. We'll have another after party, and then we're out on Tuesday. So it's kind of a quick thing, but we have a jam-packed day. The best way,
one night stand with the AWG guys.
Yeah, the best way to get information, we have the event information posted on partners.tripshock.com. Our Facebook group, I have like tons of information, links. We have the hotel contract just about, it gets signed. They're just setting up the room block right now. So we are good. Or you can just email us if you get the email for the show, just email us back and say, hey, send me the details. So we are ready to go. We have almost 40 days until showdown, 45 days.
Now we're gonna do a different sell. We're gonna be like, get your tickets. We're down to the last 20 guys. We're running out. Let's go. And that's awesome, man. I was not sure that this was gonna happen, Greg. I doubted you, and I shouldn't have. Like, so my wife is like, and now I got an issue because she's going to like Portland until the 17th. I was like, I don't know who's it that they're just gonna come to listen to us like that. And Greg's like, no. I'm like, well, I'm gonna support it. However we got to do it, whatever.
I think you underestimate.
I did.
I think you underestimate our viewers. We have we have quality over quantity. So a lot of people that listen to the show actually listen to it every single show.
I'm shocked. It's always going to be a weird thing for me to like accept that people are listening to our voices and they're like, yeah, we love these guys. These guys are great. And then we're going to all get to meet in person in October, and man, it's going to be a blast. And you guys got to all come up and shake this man's hand because he's a little fucking machine, man. He doesn't stop, man. You fucking, man, I need to take your course, dude. I need to read your book. Yeah. I get a chapter every week. I will tell you this though. Hold on. I will tell you this. Please, man, before we go to this event, can you get like a different fucking hat? You see my pictures on Facebook. You know I know how to dress. So please.
You know I got this hat. You're gonna laugh.
A fucking from a partner or something. So it's like a total rich guy hat.
It's actually worse. I ordered a crab trap, and Amazon's the company that fulfilled it threw in a free hat.
It looks like a rich guy hat.
Look what it says.
Fishing too good?
No, fishing is good.
It's the most generic ass hat I've ever seen, man. Dude, look at these. I just got these.
Oh.
I love them. They're black Crocs with cherries on them, and I'm going to be dressed like that. Come to the event just to see what I'm going to wear. It's going to be awesome.
It's a mystery. All right, everyone. Hey, thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe, get in our Facebook group, and tell your friends.
Yeah, and keep it awkward.
Oh, and keep it awkward.
Don't forget our slogan.
You've been listening to the Awkward Watersport Guys podcast. If you're in the water sport industry, this is the podcast that brings the business perspective to parasailing, jet and ski boat rentals, sailing, snorkeling, and everything else. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from this show. Be sure to sign up to our email list at watersportpodcast.com and subscribe in your favorite podcast app. We'll see you next time, and thanks for listening.